Sometimes a sponsor comes along and it is just your type of game, and I think Lost Eidolons Veil of the Witch is very much our type of game. We spent a bit of time playing it, we've gone over most of the features, and we're going to tell you about them.
Yeah, this is a tactical RPG, but with a roguelite element to it, which we were really intrigued to see exactly how that would work, and we're going to explain it to you now in this video.
We're also giving away a copy as it is a sponsored video. All you need to do is let us know down in the comments your thoughts.
So what exactly is Lost Eidolons Veil of the Witch? Well, let's find out.
Each time I restore you, a stitch is torn free.
So after picking your protagonist, the story starts with a shipwreck and you end up stranded on an island. You've lost your memories and you make a deal with a witch to have these memories restored to you, but in order for this to happen, you must be her champion and fight the hordes of undead that are on the island.
As Glen mentioned, you do get to choose your protagonist of 2 options, and they are fully voiced as well, which is a nice little touch.
You'll meet characters along the way that can join your party, and as we mentioned, there is a roguelite element to this, and each run will see more of your memories restored to you. There is a feeling of strengthening of your character with each failed attempt via meta progression.
There is a feeling of almost Game of Thrones, isn't there? You've got a narrator that ties things together, but you've also got these many different factions that you gradually learn about across this continent.
So as we mentioned in the intro then, when it comes to gameplay, this is a tactical RPG. I also said a moment ago that you'll grow a party as you get further into the game, and you'll control each of these characters on a grid in turn-based fashion.
So when it comes to combat, you don't place your troops. You're given a starting position based on the instance that you currently find yourself in, but you can choose which character you want to control. You're not given a set order. The grid underneath your players will also show you not only where you can move, but also where you're likely or in danger of coming under attack from enemies. It shows you like a red line that goes towards the player. It's really handy, actually.
Yeah, this will help you decide which of your units to move if there's one that's in danger of being attacked next, and obviously any moves that you make will actively change the target from the enemy, so you just need to bear this in mind.
Often you'll place your unit in a position and then think, actually, no, that's not right at all. That's going to lead to this and that. So you can just press a button and it will go straight back to the default space.
Each of your characters has a class and they'll have a number of different moves. These can include melee attacks or weapon-based attacks at least, magic attacks of course, and you may even have some that are more adept at healing, so you want to make sure that you keep these within range of your characters to keep everyone healthy.
Now it goes a little deeper in a few different ways. One of them is that every enemy has a weakness to a certain type of attack, and it shows this with a symbol on the lower right hand corner of the screen. It also shows this if you go to attack with one of your units on the enemy itself, so you really can see at a glance if you're using the right combinations of your own troops and the weapons that they have.
You can switch between a couple of different weapons for each of your characters, and again this may change how much damage you do to a particular enemy. And as Mark mentioned, you can see in the middle of the screen how much damage you're projected to do. This could change depending on things like critical hits, of course, but it gives you a good indication as to whether the move you're about to carry out is a good move or not.
Now, something that is important if you do play a lot of these games, once you've performed a move, that's it, that's your turn over. Oftentimes they have separate pause for your action and then your movement, but here it's all lumped together.
Any sort of magic move or healing based move has a cooldown period, so again you just need to bear this in mind, because if you keep a character in a precarious position having carried out a move, they may be in danger of attacks after that.
And I really like that, actually. I prefer that to a pool of magic. It's one of those things I don't like to keep an eye on, whereas the constant knowing that this takes 2 turns, this takes 3 turns to restore, it just gives it that consistent strategy.
There's also quite a clever combo-based system built into the game. So for example, quite early on we faced almost like a boss.
A hellhound.
He was pretty big, whatever he was, that's for sure. And you could attack him with set weapons, and it would kind of show you where was a good place to attack. And if you kept that combo going, obviously you did more damage. This wouldn't stop you from carrying out any other sort of attack if you felt it was a better opportune moment for you to do so, or what have you, but obviously it would break that combo.
Yeah, it was nice because it rotated the enemy as well, so you could actually position them yourself, attack them from a certain side, they'll rotate towards that character, placing the vulnerable part in line with another troop that you've already set up. So in terms of strategy, there are some nice options there.
Yeah, again, that was a good idea because it wasn't just about getting your hits in and carrying on that combo. It was about you or your actions maneuvering the enemy by way of them retaliating against you.
It's also a low RNG TRPG in the sense that you're not relying on percentage chance to hit. I really like that. What you are relying on is percentage chance to do criticals, which is something you can augment with the choices you make, because characters do get a card to level up.
Yeah, every action you carry out will give your character skill points or, leveling up points, and when they reach a certain threshold, they will level up. And as Mark mentioned there, they are then awarded the chance to gain a card, and there are usually a couple of options available to you, and taking one of these cards will obviously make your character that bit stronger.
There's other progression as well that comes in the form of the loot that you gain. You might find chests dotted around the stage, and sometimes you'll get a certain item that basically lets you enhance one of your player's weapons. Now, this goes a step further in that there are certain synergies. Sometimes you'll see a higher affinity, and it will give you the chance of unlocking a legendary weapon. And I guess these are the roguelite elements that you come to expect, but that you don't usually see in this genre.
Between battles, you'll enter camps or towns at times, and this also deals with things in an interesting way, in that sometimes you'll have the option to train your characters up, or you can rest by the fire and therefore heal yourself up from the previous battle. And again, it's that risk reward of, do you want to get stronger or do you want to be healthier before you embark out again?
You can probably tell this is one where the sponsorship is a game we just like we just enjoyed it. And I like the fact that with the health system Glen's just spoken about, there are so many ways of healing yourself in battle. This doesn't hinder you in terms of your own ability to heal your troops, but you do have to think ahead, because there were times where I ended combat when what I should have done is kind of hung back, healed my whole party, and then, delivered the fatal blow.
Yeah, exactly. And this is something I like about TRPGs. I've done this myself in things like Fire Emblem in the past, where you, before, as you say, killing that final enemy, just cast a couple of spells or something with weaker characters so they get a bit of XP for not really doing anything, and then you move on. It's always a good idea to do that.
As Glen mentioned, sometimes you do go into camps and things, but there are choices. It has a choose your own adventure style. So as you work your way through the map, you'll have like a left and a right choice. One will go to an area that's going to gain you currency. There's a symbol that shows you, or gives you an indication at least, of what you're going to face before you receive that item.
I mentioned the classes of each character earlier, and as you go through the game, you'll be able to get promoted and obviously make your characters that bit more powerful. And you can also strengthen the bonds with allies as well. Again, just becoming a more coherent team in the process. You have a team of 5, but there are 9 hybrid class characters available to you over the course of your playthrough.
The controls are quite well handled, very standard, I guess, for a controller-based TRPG. You can rotate the camera, selecting units is as easy as pressing bumper buttons, and then using the A buttons to decide where they go next.
Let's move on to the visual aspect of the game then, and there are a couple of different styles involved here in terms of character portraits, background shots. It uses a really quite pleasant looking hand-drawn style, and then you have the sprite-based combat to go with it.
We live in a world now, don't we, where artwork is easy to produce in seconds, in ways that a lot of people really don't like. And this series has had this quality of art since the beginning. There's no AI here. It really is a labor of love when it comes to that visual style.
Yeah, each character looks distinct. Mark mentioned Game of Thrones earlier. I mean, you could mention any number of kind of fantasy-based shows or books over the years, and this definitely has a feel of that to it in terms of the character models and how they look and how they portray themselves. And you also mentioned the voice acting earlier, and again, the English narrator, that kind of northern accent, it just gives off very heavy Sean Bean vibes, doesn't it?
Before dusk, you reach a fortified town surrounded by imposing log palisades. Above the gate, a guard aims a crossbow down.
Definitely does. I always like it when, and this sounds like a no-brainer really, they use actual English actors to do English voices. It very often isn't the case.
Yeah, it's not just English actors though. The characters across the board have different accents, and again, that just helps to create this kind of vibrant world where there are all different sorts of people living.
As well as the voice acting that we've already mentioned, it has a lovely fitting soundtrack. It could come straight out of a George R.R. Martin episode of Game of Thrones for sure.
In terms of the price then, Lost Eidolons Veil of the Witch costs £19.99 and regional equivalents will be on your screen now. For that price, you're getting obviously quite an involved TRPG, but the fact that it's a roguelite means that it does extend its longevity.
Yeah, and it's nice that it doesn't feel like it does that in the traditional sense, which is the you must die. You know, there's a lot of strategy here, and it's really down to the player to carve their way through the land using their own skills. Yeah, so that's it for this one. This is a time where we had an absolute blast, didn't we?
Yeah, really enjoyable game. We played this through, albeit it's a single player game. You know, Mark was controlling and I was offering advice here and there, and just playing it like that worked really well, didn't it?
Yeah, pearls of wisdom as I went headlong into the fray.
Yeah, exactly right. Well heeded words of wisdom.
They were actually.
Which was surprising.
Older and wiser, mate.
Exactly. But thank you to the publishing team for sponsoring this episode. As Mark said at the beginning, we are giving a copy of this game away, so do tell us what you think of it down in the comments section. Thank you to our patrons, of course, for your continued support, and our channel members, and each of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.